Hello and welcome to Harvard Stadium in Boston, Massachusetts for tonight's NWSL matchup between the visiting Chicago Red Stars and the Boston Breakers. Alongside former Boston Breaker Catherine Donnelly, I'm Scott Sudikoff, and we thank you for tuning in on this Thursday evening. The Breakers come off of a 12 days between games, last played on May the 3rd, dropping a 1-0 decision at Sky Blue, falling to 1-3-0 on the year. Meanwhile, Chicago coming off of a 1-0 victory over Houston this past Sunday. The Red Stars at 2-1 on the year. As we look at the standings so far in the first couple of weeks of the NWSL season, you see Chicago right in the middle of the pack with 7 points. The Breakers down here to the bottom right now with just 3 points so far and that one victory. Looking at the Chicago side, a player to watch in this one will be Jen Hoy. And Catherine, good game against Houston this past Sunday. Really, the Chicago, a lot of good defense, but not a lot of offense, but they still have 2 wins on the board.
Yep. Definitely number 2, Jen Hoy is one to look out for. She had the game-winning goal against Houston, and the lone goal of the game, she scored that in the 33rd minute to come away with the win. Last year, she had 3 goals and 1 assist for Chicago, so she's definitely a threat in the offense, one to look out for. 23-year-old from Sellersville, Pennsylvania, played collegiately at Princeton University. Again, the 1 goal this year, but 3 goals in 9 games last season for the Red Stars. And over on the Breakers side, we tend to focus on her a lot on these broadcasts for the Breakers, and that's Leanne Sanderson. A couple of games ago, she was the spark in that one, and really she's the spark for this team overall. I would definitely agree with that. She's all over the place, and last home game, she had 2 goals and 1 assist, and like you said, she's the spark, and she got the Breakers their first win, and she's always one to look out for, but especially today, hopefully she can get them their 2nd win of the season. And she was one of 2 Breakers, and in this time off for the Breakers NWSL schedule, she played for England in her 38th cap, May 8th, against the Ukraine. Well, the Breakers and the Red Stars, the first of back-to-back matchups. These 2 teams will play again right here on Sunday. But first up, game number 1 between the 2 teams, Red Stars and Breakers. We'll have starting lineups and the opening kickoff coming up next from Boston. Boston Breakers Soccer is brought to you by Bertucci's, a proud partner of the Breakers. By We Got Soccer. We Got Soccer is proud to partner with the Breakers for their 2014 campaign. By the University Sports Complex, a partner of the Breakers, the largest sports facility in all of New England. By Steward Health, the title sponsor of the Boston Breakers. By Katz Sports Performance Center, the official performance training provider of the Boston Breakers. By TCG Network Services, a proud sponsor and the official IT services provider of the Boston Breakers. By Minuteman Health. Minuteman Health invites you to join the revolution. Learn how to enroll at minutemanhealth.org. By CIP Insurance. Visit www.askcip.com. And by Rockland Trust. For more information on Rockland Trust, visit rocklandtrust.com. Welcome back to Harvard Stadium alongside Catherine Donnelly. I'm Scott Sudikoff. We thank you for tuning in. The Red Stars and the Breakers, a moments away from
opening kickoff of this one in Boston. First matchup of back-to-back matchups at the stadium between these two teams as they will battle again on Sunday. Looking at the starting lineups for Chicago. In goal, they have Karina LeBlanc, and then defensively, Rachel Kwan, Michelle Juanino, Samantha Johnson, and Jackie Santa Catarina. In the midfield, Zakia Bywaters, Julie Johnston, and Vanessa Di Bernardo, along with Lori Kolupny. And the forwards are Jen Hoy and Adriana Leon. Chicago is coached by Rory Dames, as you see. Karina LeBlanc, she was the goalkeeper for the NWSL champion Portland Thorns a year ago, and you see her numbers so far in 4 starts for Chicago this year, that 0.5 goals against average. You see the goalie for the Breakers, Alyssa Nair. Starting lineup defensively of Courtney Jones, Kat Whitehill, Jasmine Avant, and Julie King. Midfielders, Heather O'Reilly, Leanne Sanderson, Joanna Lohman, Christy Mewis. And I also have Jasmine Reeves in the starting lineup as a forward. I think there'll be some shuffling of sort of how this lineup is presented to us, but you know, look at also Ashley Grove is back defensively. So we'll see how the Breakers come out and see exactly where everybody is in the lineup as we are underway. Chicago with the opening possession here on a fairly beautiful day in Boston. About 70 degrees here at kickoff.
A little bit nicer than last home game.
As Whitehill trying to clear that one out of the box. Pretty good wind blowing across the field on your screen, right to left across the field, at least currently.
It looked like to start off we had Mewis on the left wing there and Courtney Jones on the right wing.
A couple of quick whistles so far in this one. Breakers 1-3-0 overall, 1-1 at home. They beat Sky Blue back on April 27th here, 3-2. Helped out by the player you just saw on the screen, Leanne Sanderson, as she scored 2 goals, had an assist. Falling to Sky Blue on the road May the 3rd, 1-0. That's the last game, so it's been almost 2 weeks since the Breakers have played together. Of course, Sanderson and O'Reilly playing in international competition in the meantime. As a throw-in for Chicago on the far side, the Red Stars coming off of a 1-0 win over Houston at home on Sunday, 2-2-1 overall the record for the Red Stars. And most impressively to look at is they've only allowed 3 goals. They've only scored 3 goals, but they've only allowed 3 goals on the year.
Yeah, it's definitely been a defensive team this year. I mean, even with Taryn Hemmings out with her ACL injury, the Chicago backline's found a way to shut the opposing offenses down. So it'll be an interesting battle today, I think.
Throw-in coming in midfield for Chicago. Throw-in here from Michelle Juanino. We mentioned Christy Mewis in the lineup. First time this season for the Breakers. A local product here out of Hanson, Massachusetts. And played at Boston College last year with FC Kansas City. As Courtney Jones there on the far side lets it go out of bounds. It'll be a Breakers throw-in. Also seeing Jasmine Reeves, her first action of the year, making a start as well. Out of Virginia Tech, 22-year-old. Wears number 7. Breakers are without Lisa Devanna, as she is with the Australian national team playing in the Asia Cup in Vietnam. And the same can be said for a couple of new signees for the Red Stars. Abby Urseg, as well as Emily Van Edgman. Both signed recently, but have not yet joined the team. A race for the ball. Ashley Grove gets there first for the Breakers and will play it back for Alyssa Nair. Nair in the game against Sky Blue, the last one, allowed 1 goal on 5 shots, making 4 saves as she scoops that one up. Meanwhile, Karina LeBlanc, she played on Sunday against Houston, only had to make one save in the game. Houston only had, I believe it was 2 shots attempted in the entire game.
Wow.
Against Chicago. One of them on goal. So not much work for LeBlanc on Sunday.
Hopefully Breakers will be able to test her a little more today.
Free kick upcoming for Vanessa DiBernardo, 21-year-old out of the University of Illinois. Has started all 6 games for the Red Stars this year. 1 assist. Sends that one towards the top of the box. And the loose ball. Jasmine Avant got there first for the Breakers, but it's taken away by Bywaters. Bouncing around outside of the box, Kalupny. Kalupny with the left foot. It goes wide of the post. And it was deflected out by the Breakers, so it'll be a corner kick. First of the evening.
Looks like Chicago's just holding one back at midfield, and one's going for the short. Let's see if they use the short or if they go long to start off.
DiBernardo on the corner kick for Chicago.
They go long.
The header towards the 6 gets cleared out by the Breakers. A collision there, and now sent out into space. Trying to make a run after it is O'Reilly. But it's picked up by Chicago. LeBlanc with the left foot sends it down the field. Out of bounds for a Chicago throw-in. Red Stars playing their 3rd match on the road. This actually today begins a 4-game road trip. 2 here in Boston. Then they go to Houston. And then back to the East Coast to play Sky Blue. For the Breakers, this starts a 5-game homestand. Throw in from Juanino. Avant trying to give it to Lohman, and miscommunication, but a foul was called as Lori Kalupny was breaking forward. But the play whistled down.
Can hear the wind here.
Here's O'Reilly. And it'll be picked up by Julie Johnston in the corner, or she'll let it go out of bounds and take the goal kick. So, Catherine, the Breakers, just the 1 win on the season. Obviously looking to get on the right track. You have Christy Mewis in the lineup. You have Jasmine Reeves for the first time. What are the Breakers trying to do here tonight to get this homestand off on a good start?
I think Mewis is definitely a key in the Breakers' future this season. It's good for them to have her back and just kind of create some more offense and try and expose.
Boy, with the cross there. And
there we go.
Alyssa Nair was trying to grab it as it goes out of bounds on the other side. Chicago trying to keep it deep inside their offensive end, and now they gain a throw-in. So Mewis and Reeves seeing their first time for the Breakers this year, and Mewis being the big addition. Started 20 games last year for FC Kansas City. 15 appearances for the U.S. national team in her career. Just 23 years old. And again, from Hanson, Massachusetts. Played at Boston College.
I played her a few times in my my years at BU. She's definitely a hard player to keep with on the defensive end, and she's all over the place. So she's a hard worker in there.
They have a foul called on Chicago. Head referee Mark Allerton. Free kick for Kat Whitehill, who, as normal, has played all 360 minutes this year.
No surprise there. Nice touch by Mewis there.
Mewis and O'Reilly playing it together, and it got knocked away from Mewis. Sent across the field, now switch back towards the near side. Breakers there to recover the ball. And now the two teams just kind of passing it back and forth. Yep. On the near side, Juanino plays it along the sideline, trying to get to Kolupny. It'll be a Breakers throw-in as we are just about 9 minutes in a scoreless game. The lone game on the NWSL schedule yesterday, Seattle beat Kansas City 3-2. Portland 1-0 victory against Houston. Seattle now 7-0-0. After a very tough season last year, they have, well, I guess you could say they definitely stocked up and have so far all 21 points. Yep. They have collected a plus 12 goal differential. Bywater's try to head that towards the box and missed. Still, though, Chicago has a throw-in deep in that corner. Throw-in from Juanino. Right along the end line, they play it. Juanino, the cross in the middle of the box, and trying to go up for the header was Di Bernardo. Didn't have a clean look at it. So Nair, who was made the start in all 5 games for the Breakers this year with the goal kick.
We have Jones over on the right side, like I said earlier, who started off the year in the back four, and now she's going back to her roots as a forward, it looks like. So she's on the right side. Mewis is on the left side.
The Breakers, after a couple of games into the season, making the change, trying to find more offensive consistency and more defensive consistency as well. Definitely. As that gets cleared out.
Nice pressure by O'Reilly there, forced Chicago back to their goalie.
On the near side of the field, Julie Johnston has a goal on the season. Avant. And a lot of back and forth play early in this one. As now Julie King trying to send it up the seam. Looked to go to Leanne Sanderson, but too far out in front of her. Samantha Johnson back there for Chicago.
Breakers are forcing it just a little bit in the offensive zone right now.
Scoreless in the game, last game against Sky Blue after 3 goals in the prior game against the club from New Jersey. Throw in now for Chicago in the 12th minute of play. And again, these two teams will play right here on Sunday. It'll be a 6:30 kickoff. That's the only change. It'll be a 6:30 kickoff. 7 o'clock here tonight, Eastern time. Julie King comes up for the throw-in. She's also played every minute so far this season.
She scored her first pro goal last home game.
Chicago able to clear the box, stepping up here, Avant. Sends it to the top of the box.
Nice pressure by Jones there.
That pass, you have Jasmine Reeves right there at the top of the box, setting up shop and trying for the header off the feed from Jasmine Avant. Different spelling. Jasmine uses a Y. Jasmine Avant uses a Y. Jasmine Reeves uses an I. O'Reilly. Near side pass for Avant. She'll play it back, look for some more space. Now for Lohman. Lohman with the left foot tap to O'Reilly. O'Reilly turns, has Mewis to her left. Reeves entering the box. Mewis.
Tries to use the outside of her foot there. Not really going to anyone, though.
An errant pass. Stepping up, Whitehill. Lohman plays it back for Ashley Grove. Sends it to the far side, and Courtney Jones couldn't keep it alive. As we work into the 14th minute, 0-0 contest. Throw in for Chicago. Rachel Kwan, 22-year-old from Lake Forest, Illinois. Has made the start in 5 of now 6 games for Chicago. King battling with Hoy there. Hoy, who we spotlighted in the open, the game-winning goal against Houston on Sunday.
Yep.
That's the key of Bywaters. We'll throw it back into play.
Breakers looking to transition quickly here.
Jones again couldn't get to that one. Headed by King, back towards the direction of Courtney Jones. And that gets deflected out off of Boston.
The Boston Breakers would like to acknowledge the following groups attending tonight's match. Abbey Villa Soccer Club. Dorchester Youth Soccer. Goodwin Soccer Club. Mass Winter Soccer. And our precious Coach families.
Back and forth with the throw-ins on the far side here.
Good news for the Breakers, of course, coming into the game today. Nothing on the injury report. And again, Lisa Devanna with the Australian national team playing in the Asia Cup in Vietnam.
No injuries is always a good thing.
And for Chicago, you have Taryn Hemmings, who is still working her way back.
She's almost back.
From a torn ACL she suffered last year. So for Chicago, they're pretty healthy as well. This play is on here. Hoy with the shot, pass, excuse me, and
wow.
I believe that was Bywaters who couldn't get there in time. So an opportunity for Chicago in the 16th minute. Couldn't take advantage of it.
Tries to slide and get a foot on there, but just goes wide. It's the best chance we've seen probably so far from either side.
Julie King will have the throw in. Here's Jasmine Reeves. Reeves has a knocked back to Kat Whitehill. Whitehill back towards Reeves. Now Sanderson trying to send it across the field, trying to get O'Reilly on the run.
Good idea.
Lohman got in the way. Here's Christy Mewis, turns back upfield. Mewis plays it out for O'Reilly, looking for a cross.
She has her deadly left foot. She's being forced to her right here.
O'Reilly turns back to her left, and that goes out. Corner kick.
She earned that corner kick.
See what the Breakers can do on their first corner kick of the night. O'Reilly with the kick. It was Julie King who stepped up into the box, couldn't get the header. And now Chicago on the counterattack. Looped up over towards the far sideline. Ashley Grove will win the race for it, beating Bywaters. Back up the field. Whitehill sends it towards the middle for Reeves, just out of her reach. Sanderson stepping up, trying to keep it going for the Breakers. And Sanderson will win the possession back to Whitehill. Whitehill again trying to switch fields. It comes down to O'Reilly. Settles it down with her left foot. O'Reilly along the ground for Reeves. Back to O'Reilly with the right-footed shot. Curves right into LeBlanc. A loose ball. Put back in. A score.
Nice follow-up by Jones there on the rebound to put that away.
Courtney Jones scores it as LeBlanc couldn't handle the shot from O'Reilly. And Courtney Jones scores her first of the season. She scored 4 last year for FC Kansas City. and gives the Breakers a 1-0 lead. Off a great initial shot by Heather O'Reilly.
What you don't see right before that is actually Mewis makes a great run to open up that lane for Heo to take that shot in the first place, and then Courtney's there to put it away.
So the Breakers get on the board in the 19th minute. Courtney Jones making the switch from center back at the start of the year and moving up into an offensive position. It pays dividends.
Definitely.
In game number 5 of the year.
Breakers goal scored in the 19th minute by number 3, Courtney Jones.
She was a forward at UNC when they won 2 national championships, so she's no stranger to the forward position. When she was at the Breakers initially, she got moved to an outside back, and now she's back at forward, and there's a reason why.
Throw in for Chicago. As now we'll see if the Red Stars can answer. Again, that's only the 4th goal Chicago has allowed all season. Red Stars have only scored 3, but the 2-2-1 record. Julie King turns and tries to clear it away. We'll now have the throw-in. One-touch pass to the near side with some spin played by Winino. Gets deflected out. It's off of Winino. Avant on the throw-in for Boston. Sanderson battling with Santa Catarina. Now Lohman in the midfield, plays it back for Whitehill. Whitehill sends it across for O'Reilly, taps to Lohman. And now finds Avant coming up the near side. Plays it off into space for O'Reilly, see if she can get the left foot cross off. Keeps it in along the end line and has to play it back, not enough room. Now Avant. Had it knocked away. Joanna Lohman picks it up.
It looks like Avant's down a little bit right now.
Yeah, Avant doubled over a bit now, slowly walking back towards her position. Alongside Catherine Donnelly, I'm Scott Sudikoff. We thank you for tuning in. The Breakers and Red Stars here at Harvard Stadium in Boston. Home game number 3 for the Breakers. Avant seems to be working through whatever the issue is.
She's just shaking it off. She's tough.
Throw in from Mewis. Take it away. Now throw in for the Breakers just comes further back. First of a 5-game homestand for the Breakers. The first of 2 in a row against Chicago. Chicago beginning a 4-game road trip today.
And they're looking for their first win on the road.
0-1-1 are the Red Stars away from Chicago. Jones fights through 2 defenders. Now Lohman. Across the field it goes to Avant. O'Reilly plays it off for Mewis and trying to go back to O'Reilly, but Red Stars clear it out. Avant looking towards O'Reilly. Defense was good by Lori Kolupny, not allowing the pass to get to her.
Some high pressure from the Breakers here.
Breakers scoring in the 19th minute. Courtney Jones, 1-0 lead. That one bounces out. Ashley Grove does a good job to make sure Red Star can't get to it. Jasmine Reeves going 1-on-2. This will be a Chicago throw-in. Michelle Juanino. We see a look at Julie Johnston, 22-year-old midfielder for Chicago. Played back for LeBlanc. Lohman goes up high.
Nice win there.
Breakers have tilted the field in their advantage for the last several minutes. Left-footed down the seam, trying to get it through there. Juanino with the long pass, too long. As Nair settles it down for the Breakers.
Breakers are doing a good job of getting the ball wide and switching the point of attack here. Nice effort by King there.
These two of Chicago throwing as King backs up into her defensive position. Kalupny with the pass. And again, the Breakers keep taking it away, and then looks like Jasmine Reeves will be called for a foul. Trying to make a turn and move upfield. Reeves playing in her first game of the season. She's 22 years old. This past fall at Virginia Tech, scored 11 goals in 27 games. And she's been inserted right to the top of the offense in her first game tonight.
I think she's doing a great job in her first game, her first pro start. I mean, she might be holding on to it a little bit too long here and there, but she's doing well so far, I think.
Native of San Bernardino, California. See, Adriana Leon was a former Breaker last season for a little bit of time. Ended up playing 10 games for Chicago last year, had a goal and an assist. Avant forced to play it back by Leon. And they called it a foul on Chicago as they bring the ball back up. See the discussion. 27th minute.
Whitehill on the kick here.
Mewis with the header. Sanderson with Reeves. Chicago looking to counterattack. Kalupny couldn't get it all the way through. Leon with the header. Trying to angle it towards Hoy. And now Kalupny almost got past Grove. Stepping up is Santa Catarina. Plays it off to the far side. Now Chicago regroups. Julie Johnston takes the space given to her with the left foot, sends it off to the near side. Played there by Leon. Good little tap for Juanino. Juanino's cross. It goes up over the crossbar. So it'll be a goal kick for Boston, and that one was dangerously close to that top corner of the goal. Would look to be a cross.
Yep.
May have had some wind effect with it. '29th minute of play. Breakers scoring in the 19th minute. Courtney Jones, her first of the season. Bouncing around at the edge of the box, comes out now. King steps up, sends it in towards Reeves. Reeves, and then Mewis stepping up, couldn't get there in time. Chicago turns up field, send out. And then gets cleared out by Nair.
The wind has replaced the sound of the drums this game. There's no drums.
No drums at this one, but definitely a windy night. Pretty warm night, though, overall. Good conditions, I guess, overall to play this game.
Definitely. Perfect soccer weather.
Mewis had her pass stolen. And now at the top of the box, a race to get to it as King trips up over Nair along with Kalupny for Chicago. And the Breakers win that battle.
Nice recovery by King there. Might have saved the goal. Nice lick by Mewis there.
To Sanderson. Sanderson moving forward. Gives it to Reeves. Reeves turns. Plays it on to the outside. Courtney Jones.
Tries to nutmegger, but...
Yeah, couldn't enter into the box. Defense by Rachel Kwan.
Breakers keep possession, though. Hale finds Courtney Jones outside again.
Jones couldn't keep the possession. Now a race for it. And that is Bywaters getting to it. Ashley Grove trying to angle her off. Bywaters with a left-footed shot. Goal kick for Boston.
She clears that one, but she has some speed. She's dangerous up there.
Bywaters had a pair of goals, played 6 games last year for Chicago with those 2 goals. She's just 22 years old. Played at UCLA. Nair with the goal kick. Pinballed around there for a moment. Sanderson settles it down. And Reeves will deflect that out of bounds. We'll see if the Breakers will insert Nikki Washington into the lineup at some point today. Acquired from Houston on April 29th for Kaylin Kyle, making her return to Boston. Throwing goes over the head of Jones. And it'll be a goal kick for Chicago. Lohman steps in front. O'Reilly plays it down the left side. Sanderson, though, not enough time to get to it.
Good idea by O'Reilly there, trying to find that seam, though.
Juanino along the sideline against Mewis. Got by her initially. Avant to Lohman. Lohman gets fouled. Kalupny had an arm in her back. Lohman has a goal in the season. Scored it against Houston. If I recall correctly, it was a header off of a pretty pass from Heather O'Reilly. That long ball bounces into the box, and Johnston to LeBlanc, who has to dive to keep it in along the end line there and save the possession.
It's a great ball by Whitehill, though. She's a deadly long kick like that. And
it wasn't an easy play for Johnston to play it back for LeBlanc at all. Some space here for Hoy, but then her cross got deflected by Whitehill. Play back. That shot blocked by King. Leon there with that shot. Gets tripped from behind by Jones, and play will continue. Determination must have been that she got her foot on the ball first. Leon there on the far side. Kept it alive, and that's a corner for Chicago. Second one for the Red Stars. As we are almost 35 minutes in. Breakers scored in the 19th minute, Courtney Jones. You see going over there, DiBernardo along with Kalupny, the captain.
See if they'll try a short one this time. Like you said, they have about 10 minutes left in this half to try and tie it up. And they go for a long one again.
King got it out with the header. Leon trying to send it back in, but a bit of a whiff. And now Mewis trying to get it to Sanderson. Good step up to knock it away by Johnson. Chicago trying to re-enter it back towards the box. Mewis settles it down against Bywaters. Lohman taps it for Sanderson. Sanderson trying to send it across and didn't get enough on it. Lohman steps it up. Sends it off for O'Reilly. O'Reilly plays it by one defender, but
there's the nutmeg. That one worked.
Good help defensively for Chicago to stop that initial opportunity. Bywaters coming all the way back. O'Reilly trying to backheel it towards Avant.
Making a nice overlapping run there.
O'Reilly again. Plays it into an open spot where Sanderson goes after it. Sanderson deep in the corner. Don't normally see her there. Knocked out by Chicago.
You see Hayo trying to set up her left foot there.
Avant, Sanderson back to Avant, but a little bit wide. And now a run out, possibly for Chicago. Kalupny.
It's not who you want to get the ball off on there.
2 on 3 up the field. Kalupny with Bywaters to her right. Now taps it to the left to Leon. And her shot looked like it'd be going wide, but Nair able to grab it anyways.
Nothing too dangerous there. Nice recovery by the Breakers.
Turnover there. Just a misplay by Chicago.
Yep.
O'Reilly trying to get it to Mewis. Slide and knocked out by Menino. Avant to Reeves. Sanderson trying to get it to Mewis. Good idea.
Good idea.
Scott Sudikoff alongside Catherine Donnelly. We're at Harvard Stadium in Boston. Breakers lead 1-0 on a 19th minute goal scored by Courtney Jones. First game of a 5-game homestand for Boston. First of a 4-game road trip for Chicago. And these two teams play right here at the stadium on Sunday night. Back-to-back games in the same location for these two teams. Samantha Johnson there on the far side for Chicago has it knocked out of bounds by Reeves. King races it down and tracks it down. Breakers throw it. King towards Sanderson. Headed out of the box. Sanderson trying to re-enter it in. Lohman gets knocked down trying to go after the ball. Kolupny collides there with Sanderson. Sanderson quickly back up. The foul, though, is on Chicago. Sanderson on May the 8th for England. Played 62 minutes, made the start against the Ukraine, her 38th cap. See Kolupny continuing the conversation with the referee as a free kick upcoming for Boston. Kat Whitehill.
You can see that she wants them to move back. That's clearly not 10 yards on a football field. You can see that.
You can see exactly. That's the one benefit of the football lines. Yep. As you can see exactly, that is not 10 yards.
I'm calling a foul on the Breakers now, so.
Yeah, foul there on the box on Boston. Hoy, near side Juanino. Two Breakers run at her. Gets riveted up the sideline. Kolupny gets knocked down by Avant. Foul on Boston. 41st minute of play. The one thing we talked about early this year for Boston and coming off of last year was the ability to build on leads.
And definitely with the 11, 12 days off they had to rest and focus and kind of work out the kink. So
because Nair has to cover that one up.
I'm sure that's one of the things they talked about was getting the lead early and keeping it. And
yeah, we saw the game against Houston. Could never extend that one-goal lead. Came back to bite them.
Yep.
A couple goals in a row were scored by Houston for the win in that one, 3-2. The victory against Sky Blue, able to hang on to it, but still never able to get it to a 2-goal lead. We have a card upcoming. Joanna Lohman issued a yellow card. Her first of the season. Also want to note Lisa Devano, as you said, she's not available because she's playing for the Australian national team, but when she comes back, she'll be have to sit out one game for the red card she got at the end of the game against Sky Blue on May the 3rd.
Don't see too many red cards.
Grove. Long pass intended for O'Reilly. Good step up, knock away by Samantha Johnson. Ball loose in the center there and bounces around. Lohman from Mewis taps it back for Avant. And now they'll use the defense. Whitehill. Kept in by King. With Reeves. And now King loops it down the side and going after Courtney Jones, battling with Rachel Kwan, gains the throw-in.
Nice sequence of passes there for the Breakers and ultimately winning the throw-in here. King has a pretty deep throw-in, so she's telling him to go a little deeper.
Goes out for Sanderson. And that one will be wide. We've entered the 44th minute of play in the first half. Juanino with Mewis on her tracks. Now for Hoy. Hoy had her pass knocked down by Grove. Got it off this time. For Hoy outside the box. Able to get by Avant, her cross to the far post, a header from Leon, and hit it in for a score. That's Kolupny. Chicago ties it up 1-1 in the 44th minute.
That initially came from Hoy, which was our pregame player to watch. She had a nice setup there to the far side.
Yeah, had her initial cross blocked by Grove, stayed with it,
Yep.
able to get by Avant, sending that one to the far post. As you'll see it right here, Avant lost her footing.
Yep.
Then the far post, Leon to Kolupny. Doesn't get much better than that, and it's 1-1.
Exactly what the Breakers were trying to avoid in the last minute of the half. But
First goal of the season for Kolupny. She had 5 last year. So we are in the 45th minute, 1-1 the score. 19th minute, Courtney Jones for Boston. 44th minute, Lori Kolupny for Chicago. Undoubtedly an assist for Adriana Leon. I'm going to have to give Jen Hoy a lot of credit as well
definitely.
with the cross. Set it all up. Boston throw-in in the corner. King's cross. Mewis gets it at the edge of the box. Trying to get it to her right foot, taken away from behind as we are in the stoppage time. Haven't seen, looks 2 minutes. 2 minutes of extra time in the first half. And that'll be offside. Bywater's offside.
Whitehill with a line drive down the side, but that goes out. Chicago will get a goal kick.
Whitehill against Bywaters. Grove clears it out to midfield.
Looks like we have an offsides call, so
And
I'm
a player,
assuming she was off and came back on.
player down for Chicago.
Number 16.
Samantha Johnson, 22-year-old defender from Palmdale, California, has started 4 of now 6 games, has played in 5. In the waning moments of the first half, 2 minutes of stoppage time. And we're well into that. Johnson sent it towards the box, headed by King, and there's the final whistle of the first half of play. The Breakers scored first in the 19th minute, Courtney Jones, but Chicago ties it up late, 44th minute strike, or 44th minute header by Lori Kolupny off the header by Adriana Leon, picking up the assist off a cross from Jen Hoy. And Chicago tying the game up 1-1 in the final minutes of the first half of play. 1-1 is your score, Boston and Chicago at Harvard Stadium. We'll take a break, come back, and have highlights and stats in the second half of action for you. Live from Boston, Breakers 1, Red Stars 1.
National Guard is proud to be the official armed forces partner with the Boston Breakers. Be on the lookout for our free grassroots soccer clinics in your area. Visit guardsoccer.com to find out how eligible high school age players, their parents, and coaches can learn the many benefits offered by the Guard, including tuition assistance. Fans, you can visit nwslsoccer.com for all your updated league information, team standings, and more. That's nwslsoccer.com. nwslsoccer.com provides fans with the latest news, scores, and information on all your favorite players and clubs. Be sure to visit nwslsoccer.com today. Is your company concerned about the cost and regulations surrounding your medical insurance and 401k plan? Contact the CIP Group, a proud partner of the Boston Breakers, and let their team of advisors help you navigate the regulatory environment and maximize your employee benefit dollars. Visit askcip.com. Fans, be sure to follow @Nike Soccer on Twitter or visit NikeSoccer.com for all the latest news and information on Nike's soccer product. A small incision makes a huge difference. At Stewart Center for Advanced Cardiac Surgery in St. Louis.
Boston Breakers Soccer is brought to you by Bertucci's, a proud partner of the Breakers. By We Got Soccer. We Got Soccer is proud to partner with the Breakers for their 2014 campaign. By the University Sports Complex, a partner of the Breakers, the largest sports facility in all of New England. By Steward Health, the title sponsor of the Boston Breakers. By Katz Sports Performance Center, the official performance training provider of the Boston Breakers. By TCG Network Services, a proud sponsor and the official IT services provider of the Boston Breakers. By Minuteman Health. Minuteman Health invites you to join the revolution. Learn how to enroll at minutemanhealth.org. By CIP Insurance. Visit www.askcip.com. And by Rockland Trust. For more information on Rockland Trust, visit rocklandtrust.com.
Performance Center is the official performance training provider of your Boston Breakers. Visit catsports.com.
Sponsored by National Guard, by Nike, and by the U.S. Soccer Foundation.
TCG is a proud sponsor and the official IT services provider of the Boston Breakers.
The broadcast of this match is authorized by the Boston Breakers. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of any image, sound, account, or description without the express written permission of the club is strictly prohibited. Tonight's match was produced by Torbo Sports Group, the official video streaming production company of the Breakers.
Bertucci's is a proud partner and sponsor of your Boston Breakers. Be sure to visit Bertucci's LY station after tonight's game.
1-1 the score here in Boston. The Breakers and the Chicago Red Stars. Alongside Catherine Donnelly, I'm Scott Sudikoff. We'll take a look at the highlights from the first half. Here's the initial goal. Courtney Jones scoring off the rebound that Karina LeBlanc couldn't handle off the initial shot by Heather O'Reilly. Courtney Jones, her first of the season. That was in the 19th minute. In the 44th minute, a cross by Hoy. Leon with the head to Kalupny. The header in for the score. And again, another look at it. Kalupny's first of the season. That tied it up in the 44th minute. And the Breakers and Red Stars even at 1 goal apiece through 45 minutes of play. Looking at the numbers, 7 shots to 2 in favor of Chicago. 2 saves for Alyssa Nair, 1 save for Karina LeBlanc thus far. And this is the type of game that Chicago has played all year. They have not allowed more than 1 goal in the game. They have not scored more than 1 goal in a game so far this year. They are 4 up, 4 down, an even goal differential with the 2-2-1 record. The Breakers came in with a goal differential of -4, and of course still there with a 1-1 score after the first half of play. So the Breakers and Red Stars, the front end of well, normally you have home and homes.
Yeah.
One in Boston, one in Chicago, but it's just a home for Boston.
A home.
A home for Boston as they play today. And then Sunday night, back here at Harvard Stadium, Chicago and Boston yet again. And that game will kick off at 6:30 p.m. this coming Sunday. And, of course, you'll be able to watch it live right here on the NWSL YouTube channel, right where you are right now. You can come back 6:30 on Sunday to once again see the Breakers and the Red Stars in Harvard Stadium. So we'll see what, again, I don't want to harp on it, but it's just been a thing for the Breakers and giving up goals late in the half and one-goal leads that they can't hold on to and never able to extend one-goal leads. And you see it here again, Chicago in the 44th minute, able to come through, tie the game up at 1, and change everything heading into halftime, where the Breakers looked like 1 more minute, 2 more minutes, they would head into the locker room with a 1-0 lead, and just like that, it changes and the momentum goes all to Chicago's side.
With the 12 days off, they had a long break. I'm sure that this is what they talked about, working the Kings out. So it was probably disappointing for them to go into half with the last minute getting the tying goal from Chicago there. But I think with Mewis as a spark, Washington, let's see if she goes in this half, see if Boston can come back and maintain the lead. And on the Chicago side, I know that we've been talking about their defense has been strong all season. So let's see if their offense is going to create something here in the second half.
So the two teams coming back out onto the field, almost ready for the second half. Breakers 5-game homestand, Chicago again on Sunday. Then they welcome in Kansas City, Portland, and Washington. And then after that, they go for 1 on the road against Kansas City and then 2 more at home. And then June the 22nd through July 25th, the Breakers will play 7 consecutive matches away from Boston, 7 in a row. They'll play June 19th at home against Seattle, will not be back at Harvard Stadium until August 3rd. So it's imperative for the Breakers over the course of the next 5 or the next 7 or the next 8 at home to take advantage of those home matches.
Definitely.
Because things will just get harder when you go on the road for that extended period of time.
Always.
Meanwhile, Chicago starting off a 4-game road trip today after the 2 games with Boston. They'll play at Houston on the 23rd of May and then at Sky Blue on May the 28th. These two teams will match up in Chicago on August 13th. That'll be the second to last game of the year for the Breakers.
Doesn't look like there's any changes in the Breakers lineup coming out in the second half. Mewis on the left side, Jones on the right. Same back 4.
Still waiting for Chicago to all get onto the field here. A couple of extra minutes out of halftime. As Karina LeBlanc heading back towards her line right now.
Here we go.
Scott Sudikoff and Catherine Donnelly with you at Harvard Stadium. Second half about to begin. As LeBlanc gets set, places her water bottle in the right position.
There we go.
Second half underway. Breakers move left to right in the blue. Chicago in the white, of course. Cleared ahead by Chicago. Race for the ball will be won by Ashley Grove. And played back for Alyssa Nair. The only game on the NWSL schedule today. There'll be 1 game on Saturday, Western New York at Washington, and then Sunday you have these 2 teams playing along with Houston at FC Kansas City. Sanderson sends it off into space, trying to get to it as Jasmine Reeves gets bumped off there, still gets a cross off. Mewis Sends it back towards the box.
Tries to keep it alive.
Not much else she could do as she tried to run it down before it went out of play. Now Leon against Avant. Turns up the field. Moving up the sideline, angling back towards the center.
Gets caught up with it a little bit there. And we have a Wissa.
It's a breaker who's down. Avant. My Jasmine's mixed up for a moment.
Looks like he might be pulling out another card.
Yep, Adriana Leon awaiting her fate there.
Pleading her case.
Picks up the yellow card. So we've had 3 cards in this game. Kalupny and Leon for Chicago, and the one on Joanna Lohman.
It was funny. I was reading, actually. Kalupny, she has 11 fouls committed and 12 fouls suffered on the season. So she's top of the leaderboard on both sides of fouls.
I did stumble across the last year. She did lead the league in fouls suffered. So she is what you would call in the midst of the action and
definitely
physical, and draws a lot of attention. A slip there almost led to a Breakers chance.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. A yellow card caution has been issued by the referee. Chicago's number 19, Adriana Leon, on the 77th minute.
Played along for Mewis, and then had her pass deflected away. Kalupny trying to move forward, runs into Lohman. Mewis again trying to move it forward, and not much room. Avant steps up as teams battle back and forth. Mewis plays it into space for O'Reilly. Has it knocked away. And as actually O'Reilly couldn't keep it in along the sideline there. It'll be Chicago throw-in by Wenino. Leon staying with it for Chicago. And here come the Red Stars. Leon out wide. Avant got in her way and able to let it go out for the Boston throw-in.
Breakers can't quite get it out of their end.
Samantha Johnson stepping up for Chicago and draws the foul.
It's always a tough battle between these two teams. This rivalry dates back all the way to 2009 when both teams were part of the WPS. I remember in 2012 when I was with the team, we lost in the semifinals. And then last year, there was a little controversy on the Chicago goal. I was there to watch it in Chicago. Chicago won 1-0.
Dangerous situation there. Nair able to get to it first as she had a pair of Red Stars bearing down on her.
Nice aggressive play by her there.
Played out wide, but nobody home for Boston. Wenino goes back for the throw-in. 27-year-old from Aurora, Colorado. Played collegiately at Colorado. Jasmine Reeves can't get to it. Played by Julie Johnston. Breakers trying to keep it in the end there. Lohman trying to get it back through to Reeves. Knocked away by Wenino. Right foot forward from Chicago, and Breakers send it back Whitehill with the header. King trying to get it forward to Mewis. And again played back by Chicago. And now it's loose there. DiBernardo got knocked down, fouled by Sanderson.
There's that wind again.
Getting set up for the free kick. And the header goes off the crossbar, loose in the 6, and then tapped home. Winino coming up and scoring it off the initial shot that came off the crossbar. And it's 2-1 Chicago.
You can see Heather O'Reilly bring her team in right now into a huddle. She's telling them, you know, we need to calm down, play our game, and, you know, get one back right away. Too many little mistakes. That should have been cleared right away by the Breakers. Chicago did a good job by keeping track of it and putting it away. Loyal Breakers fans are cheering them on. Hopefully they can get one back.
So 2 in a row from Chicago. In the 53rd minute, Winino scores. Foul whistled on Boston.
You know, it's kind of seems to be a theme of our conversation here is just the Breakers getting a lead and keeping it, but unfortunately, time after time, we've seen them give up that lead, and it's definitely disappointing for them and something that they're going to have to adjust again after this game.
Yeah, for Chicago, it's the first time they've scored more than one goal in a game this year.
Yeah.
And again, they haven't let up more than one goal in a game. So if you're Chicago, you're obviously with a 2-1 lead, you're right where you want to be, but you feel very comfortable as your defense has been strong all year.
Definitely.
Goalkeeping strong, and we'll see how Chicago plays with a lead. As Whitehill plays it back for Nair. Second ball, Lohman couldn't control it. Now Leon couldn't keep it in. It looked like she couldn't keep it in, but she did. It goes off of King. Throw in by Rachel Kwan. Trying to get it for Bywaters. Whitehill able to knock it away, but Chicago keeps possession. Kwan lobs it ahead for Bywaters, and again against Whitehill. Whitehill has some help, but knowing it was off Chicago, lets it roll out. Get the goal kick for Nair. 55th minute. Chicago just took the lead in the 52nd minute. Michelle Winino. The initial shot from Chicago went off the crossbar. It was loose in the 6 for a couple of minutes, bounced around. A couple of Breakers were there. Couldn't get a foot on it to clear it out, and Winino cleaned up the garbage. Sanderson gets it out wide, connects with Courtney Jones, the Breakers' goal scorer today. Jones trying to get it by there into the box. Not enough room, not enough speed. Chicago trying to counterattack Leon. And back behind the play, we have a Red Star down. And they are immediately calling for the trainer.
Looks like another card's coming out on Jones this time.
That's Julie Johnston, who's down for Chicago. Again, behind the play, didn't see what happened. As you look back up the field, as you said, Catherine, Courtney Jones being written up right now.
She already has 2 yellow cards in the season, right?
And this will be, yep, her third.
This will be her third.
Not sure if we have an angle of what happened. Because again, it was behind the play as we're moving up the field. And Johnston is up on her feet.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. A yellow card caution has been issued by the referee to Boston's number 3, Courtney Jones, in the 57th minute.
So it looks like Johnston will be able to stay out there for Chicago. Split in 5 of the 6 games for the Red Stars and made 5 starts, scored a goal. Free kick for Samantha Johnson.
Nice step by King there. There's some action on the Chicago bench. Their subs are up and warming up.
Yeah, no changes yet on either side so far. Into the 58th minute. I believe we saw Nikki Washington warming up for Boston.
Yep.
So we might see her re-debut with Boston real soon.
Maybe she can be the spark that we're talking about. Boston needs something to change here.
King throws it in towards Courtney Jones. Jones against 2 Red Stars, kept in along the sideline there, and Jones going to be whistled down for a foul again. And she has to be careful, obviously. Play restarts with another free kick for Chicago. Johnson elects to use her keeper, LeBlanc. Chicago trying the quick passes. Mewis almost had it for Boston. And Whitehill plays it back for Nair. Back and forth we go. And now Grove trying to settle it down for the Breakers. And she loses it. A chance for Chicago. Whitehill on the defense. Forces it out.
Great job by Whitehill to save maybe another goal.
That was Jen Hoy with possession for Chicago against Whitehill. Corner kick for Chicago. Headed towards the far side and headed out by Boston.
We have a sub coming in for Boston now. It looks like Washington is coming in.
And Jasmine Reeves heading out.
Is going out.
So Reeves plays 60 minutes in her debut for Boston and had a few good moments out there. Now you see Nikki Washington for the first time this season with Boston, coming from Houston on April the 29th. Played 11 games with Portland last year and scored a goal, had 2 assists. Played 3 games with Houston this year. Chicago off the corner kick. O'Reilly gets it away. Now Whitehill.
There we go.
Some space in front of her.
Washington's calling for it. Nice ball, perfectly placed by Whitehill there.
Washington into the box. Her cross gets blocked down, got it back. Lobs it towards LeBlanc.
It's a good idea. Good idea.
Had Jones bearing down on her, along with Sanderson. Headed down the middle of the box. So Washington comes right onto the field and
Makes her presence known.
Helps create an opportunity. And as you said, Catherine, maybe you can put some life into the Breakers after the 2 straight scored by Chicago. Red Stars 2, Breakers 1. Washington wearing number 26 will have the throw-in. Sanderson turns and gives to Washington. Washington against 2 Red Stars goes out off Chicago. King will make the throw-in. Washington trying to get it ahead to Courtney Jones. Groves sends it to Avant. Avant angling towards the far side. Her pass was not intended, was not on target initially, but Chicago couldn't keep possession. Now on the midfield, DiBernardo. Long in the near side here, Leon. Leon got it by King. Sends it through into the box. Bywaters and Nair there to get it first.
A little too close for comfort.
Boston will try to turn it back upfield on the counterattack. Mewis plays it out wide to her left. That ball gets pinballed off Winino and O'Reilly, and last touched by O'Reilly. So Winino with the defense. She has the go-ahead goal for Chicago right now. And again off Boston as Chicago makes its way down the field. Hoy against Grove and Avant. Step up, left foot, and a diving stop by Nair.
Wow.
That was Winino making a bid for her second goal of the game. We know Nair can be strong in goal. Of course, the opener this year, she had 7 saves against Seattle. She made 6 saves against Sky Blue in the home match here. The lone victory for the Breakers, and comes up big on that one. 64th minute of play. That cross, and LeBlanc there for it. Substitution is waiting right now for Chicago. It'll be their first. Grove against Bywaters. Grove able to win it. Bywaters slipped to the ground and then staying with it defensively. Now he'll have a substitution, as it will be a Chicago throw-in. See that save from Nair off the shot by Winino.
That's just a great save.
Coming off the field will be Bywaters. And into the game for Chicago is Alyssa Motz. Playing in her 6th game this season. She's made 3 starts.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. Substitution for Chicago, number 65th minute. Entering the match is number 4, Alyssa Motz. Moving the match is number 5, Zakia Bywaters.
Washington goes down there.
Yeah. Easy foul to call right there. No argument. Whitehill connects with that pass. Beautiful look for O'Reilly. O'Reilly against Motz. Into the corner, the cross with the left foot.
One's there for the Breakers.
Lohman was the closest one. Now Sanderson goes to track it down. Sanderson enters it back into the box. And that goes through Courtney Jones. Out on the far side, O'Reilly. And will be a Boston throw-in. Quickly back into Jones. Plays it out to Mewis. Mewis with the shot, and LeBlanc makes the save.
Great effort by Mewis there to get a shot off. She had 3 Chicago players on her.
We saw the goal for Boston. It was a shot that was right at LeBlanc, but she couldn't hang on to it. The rebound attempt. Courtney Jones scored it for the Breakers. Well, the shot by O'Reilly had a good amount of spin on it as that popped up over the head of Nair and in the goal. 3-1 Chicago.
That was perfectly played by Chicago.
Jen Hoy scores for the second time this season, second consecutive game. And now 3-1 Chicago, 67th minute.
She splits both the Breakers defenders. She sees that Nair's off her line, so she just pokes it over her head into the goal. And that was our pregame player to watch, and there she goes scoring a goal.
Couldn't see it on that replay, but it was a long lead pass. We'll get an announcement on who it was for the assist in just a moment, but either way, Chicago leads 3-1, and just like that, it happened. So for Chicago, this is an offensive explosion this season.
Yep. Just what they wanted to. Like I said, they were looking for their first win on the road heading into this 4-game road trip. So to start it off with a win is definitely the direction they wanted to go in. And
psychologically playing the same team back-to-back games.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago right now asserting its dominance. Breakers get a corner kick right now. Heather O'Reilly sets it up. Breakers could use one right now. The far post, LeBlanc got a hand on it. Bounces out towards the top, comes out. Sanderson will play it for O'Reilly. O'Reilly trying to settle it down. Unfortunately, O'Reilly there for the Breakers couldn't keep it in along the sideline. Grove sent it back towards O'Reilly. Wanino played it away.
Nice step by Whitehill there.
Leon and Whitehill colliding. Play goes on. This is Kalupny. She has a goal. 70th minute, 3-1 Chicago. The Red Stars have scored 3 in a row in this one, starting in the 44th minute. King steps up. Trying to up the offensive pressure, lost control of it. And now Whitehill.
Washington thought King was going to make that overlapping run. Just a little bit of a miscommunication there.
Rachel Kwan will throw it in. Towards Hoy, battling with Whitehill. Hoy out into space, heading down the middle of the field. Plays it off.
That was a close one. It looked a little offsides, but no call.
Deflected out by Boston. It'll be a corner kick. And both players slow to get up. They may have knocked knees. Motts and Avant.
It looks like we may have a sub for Boston heading to midfield. Not sure who it is yet.
Samantha Johnson was the one with the assist on that last goal. Scored by Jen Hoy. Johnson's first assist, Hoy her second goal. Goal scorers for Chicago: Kalupny, Wenino, and now Hoy. Courtney Jones scored in the 19th minute for Boston as the Breakers had the initial 1-0 lead.
And there's 2 subs coming in for Boston. So Jones is out. Shepford is in. Katie Shepford. And Mewis is out. And Pathman's in.
Pathman and Shepfer for Jones and Mewis. And play continues. So we've played 72 minutes. O'Reilly to Sanderson. Pass gets deflected. Wenino has it knocked out by, I thought a breaker got a foot on it, but instead it's off Chicago. Boston throw-in. Entered in the box. Nikki Washington trying for the header.
She gets knocked out in the box, but there's no call.
And then Julie King was coming up there, and she got bumped off the play. Sanderson with the long-range shot goes up very high and onto the tent behind the goal here.
Katie Sheffer is no stranger to scoring goals professionally. Last year she had 2 goals and an assist. 2012, when I played alongside her with her, she had 7 goals and a team-high 6 assists.
She actually had 5 goals in the preseason this year. And looking to score for the first time. This is actually her second appearance of the season. So still looking for that first goal of the year.
She has a rocket, so she's one to watch out if she's anywhere, you know, along the top of the box. She's looking to take that shot and rip it, and hopefully she can get one for the Breakers here. There's still a good amount of time left. Hopefully they can make a comeback.
I know the Chicago fans watching hope that doesn't happen. Don't want to exclude them, of course.
Of course.
They are happy right now with the 3-1 score. Red Stars had not scored more than 1 goal in a game all year, and now with 3 in a row after falling down 1-0. They're looking for their 3rd win of the year. 2-2-1. Breakers 1-3-0. And again, this could help set the tone for Sunday's matchup when these two teams play again here at Harvard Stadium.
Now, historically, Chicago leads overall series 6-5, but the Breakers hold a 3-2 advantage while playing Chicago at home.
Breakers home has changed a couple times since this rivalry began. When it started, it was here at Harvard Stadium. In between, at Dilboy Stadium in Somerville, not too far from here. Now back here at Harvard Stadium. Breakers, of course, also spent some time at Nickerson Field at Boston University, a field you are very familiar with.
Familiar with playing, and I also remember going to those games and watching. So these teams have both been around for a while, that's for sure. Makes me feel a little old.
At the 76th minute, 3-1 Chicago on 3 consecutive goals.
There's another foul.
Starting in the 44th minute. Wenino. Excuse me, first was Kalupny, and then Wenino. Followed up by Hoy. The most recent goal in the 67th minute. Breakers scored all the way back in the 19th minute by Courtney Jones, who is now on the bench, and that'll be offside.
Oh.
Sanderson called off. Breakers have used their 3 subs, with Nikki Washington, Molly Pathman, and Katie Shepfer in. Chicago has used one substitution thus far, with Alyssa Motz on the field. Chicago throwing.
Looks like we have another card.
This time on Chicago.
Looks like that was on number 4.
Motz, Alyssa Motz.
Yep.
Chicago content there just to clear it away. In the 78th minute, holding a 2-goal lead. O'Reilly turning to the left. Played back for Avant. Avant trying to go back up the sideline. Sanderson making a run attempt. And now Whitehill. Whitehill with the right foot. Couldn't get it through to Sanderson. Chicago countering. A through ball. Nair heading towards the edge of the box and able to make the play.
She plays it short right away.
King battling against Leon. Leon down behind the play, now getting up. Shepfer. That'll be a throw in for Washington.
Nice turn by O'Reilly there.
O'Reilly to Lohman. Avant steps up, plenty of room with her left foot towards Sanderson. And that will trickle to the right of the flag and be a corner kick.
It's like Pathman's on this one. It's her left foot.
Here it comes from Pathman. Going up, and it goes wide. The header there by O'Reilly. Had King also in the vicinity. So a good look off the corner in the 80th minute. Still stays 3-1 Chicago. O'Reilly forced to the outside. Pathman chasing after it. And a goal kick for Chicago.
Just about 10 minutes left in regulation time here. Chicago is going to just try and maintain this 3-1 lead. Boston's looking for a miracle.
Leon. That's Washington trying to track her down. Able to make the pass to Hoy. Hoy gets by Grove. Her cross knocked away by Whitehill. Now Washington. Nikki Washington. Kept in. It'll be a Boston throw-in. Substitution for Chicago. Looks like coming in will be Haley Brock. And Jen Hoy will head out of the game. Hoy scored in the 67th minute. The most recent goal for Chicago. 3-1 the score. And in comes Haley Brock, a Massachusetts native from Acton, Massachusetts. 21-year-old from the University of Maryland. Heads out onto the field for Chicago.
Some nice footwork there.
Brock has a goal on the season. Scored against Sky Blue. For 3 straight years in Maryland, she led the school in points scored.
You can hear the wind again. Temperatures definitely dropped since the beginning of the game.
Now the wind whipping through our on-field microphones right now. As we 82 minutes in. And Washington can't get to it as LeBlanc will hold on to it for Chicago. LeBlanc, the keeper for the NWSL champion Portland Thorns last year. Now with Chicago in 2014. A race there, won by Chicago. Whitehill sent it all the way across the field. It got up over the head of Wanino. O'Reilly trying to take advantage of it. Johnston taps it away. Leon tried to get there for Chicago, but it was Whitehill for Boston. Now Sanderson turning. O'Reilly with the right foot. Got blocked down. Loose there on the far side of Vaught. Deflected back and out. Chicago doing a good job just getting in the way. Not letting the Breakers get anything moving forward. That one hugs the sideline for a while. 84th minute.
Still both sides being very aggressive in the last few minutes of the game. Avant's a little bit slow to get up.
Cleared out from the top of the box. Lohman back to retrieve it for the Breakers. Comes across the H here at Harvard. And again, Chicago content just to take it away and kick it back towards the Breakers' defensive end. Brock with the foul. Free kick here for Boston. 85th minute. Breakers running out of time, down by 2. Sanderson is in the direction of Shepfer and Washington. Leon just plays it out into space. Brock running after it. So Grove has to play it for Nair. And then Pathman couldn't control it. So now Chicago will take its time on the throw-in. Leon has an assist tonight. Her first point of the season.
Thank you for your continued support of the Boston Breakers.
Wide to the left for O'Reilly. O'Reilly trying to split 2 defenders, lost control of it. Lohman. Avant. Working hard for it. Now back to Lohman. Lohman with a good move.
Nice turn there. Stays with it.
Wenino fell to the ground. Sanderson couldn't keep it in, or nope, it was off of Chicago. Quickly back into Sanderson. Fires it. At that post scooped up by LeBlanc. '87th minute. Sanderson.
Here's a chance.
Leading towards Scheffer and Washington. It comes down to O'Reilly now. O'Reilly trying to get away from Wenino.
Chicago just clears it out. There's a Chicago player down on the far side. She seems to be grabbing her knee, her leg. Never like to see that. Maybe just a leg cramp. Shaking it off.
That was Wenino, who's been very active and officially right now has the game-winning goal for Chicago.
She almost faked out herself a little bit there. Breakers get the ball back.
Oh, misplay leads for a chance for Sanderson. And it got knocked away from behind, so good recovery.
Very good recovery there. Could have been one of the last chances for the Breakers. Just a few minutes left here.
89th minute. And of course, they need 2 goals. Breakers and Red Stars again on Sunday, 6:30 kickoff right here at Harvard Stadium. And then the following Sunday, welcoming in FC Kansas City, May the 25th, to continue the homestand, while Chicago will play at Houston on May the 23rd. Goal kick-up coming for Alyssa Nair, but we're in the 90th minute now. Breakers scored their goal all the way back in the 19th minute. Courtney Jones. 44th minute, Lori Kolupny for Chicago. 52nd minute was Michelle Wenino. And then the 67th minute, Jen Hoy made it 3-1 Chicago. We are into stoppage time now.
There's Nair coming way off her line.
3 minutes of stoppage time, even though our 4th official is holding it upside down as an E. But we'll take it as 3 minutes. 3 minutes of extra time. Unless E meant 11, but for 8, I don't think that's the case. If you were a Breakers on the field, a Breakers fan, you would hope for that, but I don't think that would fly. 3 minutes of stoppage time.
Whitehill's just trying to get everyone forward right now.
Cleared out of the box. Avant sends it back in. Now Nikki Washington has her cross block down, sends it across again.
It's a good idea by her. I'm sure most people would have tried to shoot that, and she found an open player, but just couldn't capitalize on it.
This would be, the score holds the way it is, it'll be the second game here at home for the Breakers out of 3 that they've had a lead in, but ended up losing. Game against Houston, they had 2 leads of 1-0 and 2-1 before losing 3-2. This one was a 1-0 lead all the way until the 44th minute, after Courtney Jones had scored in the 19th. Breakers in their 2 road matches haven't had much luck. Not scoring in either one of them, losing at Seattle 3-0, and then at Sky Blue in the last game 1-0.
Whitehill just trying to send into the box.
Well into the 3 minutes of stoppage time right now. Breakers are desperate. There's a shot that goes up high over the crossbar.
There's that shot from Shepard, though, that I was talking about. That was from about 25, 30 yards out.
Motts against Lohman. Motts just gets it up the field. And the final whistle sounds. Chicago comes to Boston in the front end of a back-to-back in Boston against the Breakers. And after trailing 1-0 in the 19th minute, the Red Stars score 3 in a row to get the 3-1 victory tonight. Chicago Red Stars 3 and the Boston Breakers 1. So for the Breakers, again, another disappointing results after having a lead at home. So 3 home games. Of course, they have the 1 win against Sky Blue, but the 2 losses here, both games they've scored the first goal in, but couldn't hold on to a lead. Definitely a frustrating trend starting for Boston right now.
Yeah, disappointing and frustrating, definitely 2 words to describe how they're feeling right now. Again, like we talked about, getting the lead and being able to maintain it. I don't think it's one thing we can really pinpoint that they need to work on. There's a few things. Hopefully they can look to their veterans, Whitehill, O'Reilly, Sanderson, and their newcomers are Mewis and Washington getting this first game under their belt, and hopefully they can kind of combine and figure this out for Sunday. And
we see with Chicago, we knew coming in a strong defensive team so far, having only allowed 3 goals on the year, but having only scored 3 goals, and all of a sudden they double that tally here tonight, 3 goals on the board. So if this trend continues for Chicago, definitely you're always a dangerous team if you only give up 1 goal a game. Yeah. You're always going to have a chance to win, obviously. So what did you see from Chicago, though, that kind of led to that defensive?
Yeah, I think that Hoy, we talked about pregame. Kalepny's shoes everywhere, too. I mean, like I said, I don't think it was one thing we could really pinpoint on the Breaker side that they really need to work on. I think Chicago just kind of outplayed them in most of the facets tonight. So hopefully they can figure it out. Like I said, quick turnaround. They play each other again on Sunday, and the Breakers want to be on the other end of this.
Breakers scored the first goal of the game. That was in the 19th minute. Courtney Jones made it 1-0 Boston. Well, before halftime, Chicago tied things up. See the first goal. Courtney Jones off the initial shot by Heather O'Reilly. LeBlanc couldn't hold on to it. And then Jones cleaned it up for her first goal of the year. And in the 44th minute, Chicago got on the board. Hoy with the cross, and from Leon to Kalepny, the header, to make it 1-1. First goal of the year for Kalepny. And Leon picked up her first assist of the season. And then this was the 3rd goal for Chicago. Jen Hoy in the 67th minute scoring off that long pass from Samantha Johnson. In the middle there, we saw a goal. Or here it is. This was the 2nd goal. A rebound opportunity off the crossbar, and Michelle Winino will officially get credit for the game-winning goal in this one. That made the score 2-1 in the 52nd minute. That was her first goal of the season. So Chicago comes away with a 3-1 victory, and these two teams will match up again 6:30 p.m. kickoff on Sunday here at Harvard Stadium, the Red Stars and the Breakers. Chicago goes to 3-2-1 on the year overall, 1-1-1 on the road. The Breakers fall to 1-4-0, 1-2-0 are the Breakers at home this season. That'll just about wrap things up for us here at Harvard Stadium as the Breakers fall by a 2-goal margin to Chicago tonight, 3-1. On behalf of my broadcast partner, Catherine Donnelly, I'm Scott Sudikoff. And once again, the final score from Harvard Stadium, Chicago 3, Boston 1. Good night from Harvard Stadium.